Welcome back to Spirit Spells and Magic. Now, I hope everyone had a great Samhain. I was going to have a video up before Samhain, but I figured I did it last year and I didn't have a lot to add this year. But we do have an update on the journals. I have been going quite well. I have missed a couple of days here and there, but I decided I'd shoot with this camera. That way you can see both my hands and I can hold the pages open a little bit better. Now I hope you can hear me okay. I might have to adjust the volume, but we are going to have some cooking as well. I did really want to make Anzac cookies for Anzac Day that we had on the 25th of April, but unfortunately people had beat me to our shops and we didn't have any brown sugar. So we should be making some Anzac biscuits, as well as an old Irish recipe, a traditional recipe called Colcannon, which has got potato and cabbage in it, and it would have been something that they would have used the ingredients left over from the last harvest and put that together to warm the bellies in the colder weather that they're going to be having at this point of time in the year. Now, it is also New Year, so with Samhain comes the end of the witch's year, or the witch's calendar, and it starts a new year. So it's a good time to start, even though we're in Australia, in the middle of the year almost, it's a good time to set intentions that you want to see carried out before next Samhain. So definitely write things down in journals and diaries and make a note of what you want to bring into your life this coming year. Just like on January the 1st, you'd carry over a New Year's resolution. Now, I hope the dog next door doesn't keep barking. Apologies if it does throughout. I'm going to try and muffle that dog noise as much as I can. Now, we started last time with the Oracle card journal, and we also had the tarot card journal as well. Now I found it was kind of a bit of an overkill having to do an oracle card as well as then draw another 3 tarot cards, but I found that I needed a bit more clarification. I just adjusted things to make it a little bit more comfortable, and with the oracle cards, as I said, I needed a little bit more clarification because sometimes you can ask a question and get a card. I don't know if anyone else has found this, but I have, and it doesn't really answer the question that you're putting out there. I know with tarot cards it's a little easier because they have more of a traditional meaning and you can kind of sense the negative cards from the positive cards a little easier. Lovely Colette Baron Reid has these beautiful oracle cards and they're all positive. Even the ones that you think would be negative, like chaos and conflict, it actually has like a silver lining. So you're able to kind of distinguish with that particular card, but I found that that's probably one of the only negative cards that she has. So if it's a question of, do I continue working at this particular firm or should I leave, and you get all positive cards and you kind of think to yourself, well, they're all kind of too positive to really get a decision. So I found that doing an oracle card and then following it up with a tarot cards to kind of add to the message, I guess, it helps to give you a little bit more clarification, I guess, as to what you're actually asking. So I know it seems like overkill, but in the end, especially the last kind of 10 days or so, it's really helped with a lot. And, my life is as crazy as the next. I don't think there's anyone out there that has everything perfect. And if they do, well, you know what? Lucky them. Because reality is, as much as we try and be positive all the time, it is so hard. There is a lot that kind of comes into our little bubble and may not burst it, but it definitely influences our mood. And we can't always seem to hang on to that positivity and great feeling. So, and you do need your cards, I found, to add to the help, I guess, like your thinking process as well. You may be just torn with decisions and everything seems to be piling up, and sometimes you just need a reading that tells you it's going to be okay. And if that's the case, definitely read Colette Baron Reid's cards, because it's so inspirational. And really, that's what you want. You want cards to tell you everything's going to be okay, even if it's really, really hard, because with the law of attraction, if you keep your mind positive, things will be positive, or at least less horrid than they could have been if you were in like that downward spiral negativity thought process. So definitely, I can't recommend it enough. I am someone who dislikes writing and things, and that story, I never got to the story. Well, I'll put it pretty briefly. When I was in high school, and I never really wrote in much of a diary or a journal before, I decided when I went to the shops, I picked out a diary with a lock, and it was really cute. Its pages smelled great. It was one of those beautiful diaries that you can get for kids, and I'll put a picture up as well, something close to what it looked like. Anyway, so I started writing in this diary, and at first I didn't really know what to write, and then it kind of got to the stage where I was just writing about my day, how things were, if I went somewhere on the weekend, where I went to. And then it got to a stage where my school life, particularly in year 7, was a little hectic. People were fighting, it's the same story. Your friends aren't always friends with each other, and you get dragged into the middle of it and torn from side to side. So I started writing in my journal after school, just about my day and what had happened, who was upsetting me, and people who were a bit of a pain. And I started writing that stuff down. Now, I also had a friend who lived nearby, and often she'd come over. And it was getting to a stage where, she'd pop over less and less. We weren't as close. And on one occasion I was writing in this diary and she popped by. And I didn't quite get time to put it away because my mother would let her in. And she just kind of came in while I was writing. So I had to kind of close it up and put it away. And I probably didn't do it as discreetly as I should have. She didn't ask about it at the time, so that was good. But she did ask for a drink, so I went and got a drink. And when I got back, she had the drink and we had a quick chat, and she said she had to go pretty quickly and took off. And, I got distracted with other things going on in the house, probably television or something like that. Anyway, to my horror, the next day I get to school and I'm walking towards my group of friends and I can see them kind of looking my way. I didn't pay too much attention to it because they often look over and wave and things like that when I'm on my way over. But this time they didn't wave, and as I got closer I realised they weren't really happy, and I almost died. I saw a rip of a page along the grass as I'm walking across, and I see what it looks to be is a piece of my diary. And yes, folks, you can pretty much guess what my friend did. She stole my diary, took it home, went through it, and decided that every one of my friends needed to see what I'd written about them. So, needless to say, I hadn't had a diary much of my life after that occasion. So, let's put it this way. Don't put anything in there that there's ever a chance that someone else might get hold of it. Because it's something you just cannot live through. It's a warning. So yeah, some of those friends stuck around afterwards and others didn't, but that's part of the course, of life, mistakes and lessons learned. So it ruined me for having a diary most of my life. Now, I'm in my 40s now, if you could believe it, and it's it's taken me a best part of 30 years now to get another diary. And I'm at that time in my life now where, if anyone reads what's in my diary, I'll put them to sleep. Rest. Now, Oracle cards. I'll just give you a quick run through. Now, we had a look at it last time, step by step, and there were some places that it wanted you to write. Now, I wrote in lead pencil so I can rub it out later on and use it again, because I'm tight like that, But yeah, it's basically getting you to set aside 10 to 15 minutes and write up whatever you like, basically. And I was using it or get into a rhythm of maybe automatic writing and trying to get in touch with spirits that way. And I found that, let me tell you, I don't think any spirits want to make contact with me. Not with the life I've got at the moment. So I take the oracle card and I basically write down the meaning of the oracle card. Now this one here was new life, and I wrote down what the meaning of it was as per Colette Baron Reid's little guidebook. And then it says write and draw what the card means to you. So I wrote that down, what it meant to me, what my version of it was. And on the other side, you're meant to draw a picture of what's being revealed for your highest good, it says at the top. So I did that. And I found that over time, I didn't draw anymore. I mean, I did draw the oracle card, but less and less was I drawing a big picture. So it's really up to you if you want to get artistic. I found that the limited amount of time that I have to write in these journals didn't allow me to have time to draw a really pretty picture. And if I was just drawing stick people, it wasn't really worth it to me. So I stopped. But I did write in them. And yes, I did skip a couple of days here and there if it got really busy or I was out most of the day and I didn't have a chance. But when it comes to the day 10, pause and reflect, what it's asking you is if you can find any patterns in the last 10 days. And you know what? I have. It's amazing. Out of 52 cards in this oracle deck, and I will pull out the same cards on a cycle almost. The amount of times I got a message in a bottle was crazy. Come to the edge, soulmates, I was getting the same card over and over, and it got to a stage where I already knew what it meant, so I didn't even need to look at the guidebook anymore. But it was fun. It was good to see the patterns emerging and finding that I really do go in a cycle. I do. I'll go up and I'll stay up for a little while, and as soon as anything goes wrong, plummet. So I can see where I question everything, and then I get the same card saying, relax, it's all good. You know, Spirit's got your back. And then I'll be right for a couple of days and get, everything's abundant. You're kind of experiencing the same week over and over again. And that's why they say so often with the law of attraction, try and be positive, because change is everything. The smallest change that you can make to your mood, the more changes you'll see in your life. So that was pretty it for the oracle card. I got to day 20, and yes, so on day 20 I realized that once again it was like there was a couple of cards that I got a little different, but the message seemed to be the same. So you'll probably find that too. It gets really monotonous your life even as per the oracle cards. So onto the tarot journal, and I didn't end up filling in the front part because I kind of just do it for guidance all the time. So I didn't bother to write a separate one for each one because, I'm the only one that's going to look back on this, and knowing myself, I don't usually look back on things unless something sticks in my mind. But nothing really here has stuck in my mind. I drew the pictures. I don't know if you can see them. They're terrible anyway. You don't really want to see that anyway. But yeah, it's basically looking at the cards and writing down your interpretation and any notes. Now, I didn't know what I would use the notes and observations for. A lot of the time you run out of space. If your handwriting's as big as mine, you will. So I found that I was carrying down. So it was just basically bullet points in the end because there's just so much to write down. But I found that, it's good. It's good, and I really recommend that you guys do something like this because it's a great way to get your feelings out too. Even if it's just writing down the interpretations. On this one gives you plenty of room to write what's going on in your life. So this one not so much, but this one definitely packed with room. So I basically kept doing that, and I found that these cards will back that up. You know, almost in every instance, the oracle card matched the tarot cards I got for the day perfectly. If I had a card in here that was chaos and conflict, I'd get the cards that match that. You know, something's going to happen, you need to calm yourself, you know, don't let things get away from you, keep grounded. And, you know, if everything's going great, milk and honey, then I'd get 10 of Pentacles or 10 of Cups, you know, and have, there's 10 of Pentacles there. I'd get like marvelous cards to match it. So, and a lot of the time it was trust in the universe. I had a similar meaning each time, because I think I lose hope when things start to go downhill. I lose a bit of hope. So I guess it's good to keep you on track with your own thoughts even. So not only is it a way to have a look at what's happening in your life over maybe a 2-month process, it's also a great way to keep your mood and your mind in check too, because it's so easy we get a bit out of control with whatever's happening in our week and our days. So I recommend it, absolutely. I can't recommend it enough. I think they're a great idea, and I think everyone should try it. At least give it a go. If it doesn't work out for you, it's not a lot of money that you've lost. And you can always rub it out. If you use pencil like I did, like the cheap skate I am, you can rub all that out and you can use it later on. If you don't have time now, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year, you go back on it and go, you know what, I might start that now. And then you can erase like the couple of weeks that you did do and start again. But they're marvellous. They're absolutely marvellous. Now I was cut off, so I just wanted, I don't know how much of this actually was on the last take, so I'll just quickly go through this again. The 2023 Astrology Diary by Patsy Bennett. It's pretty good. It's similar to the Moon Diary, only it's a little bit more catered to astrology rather than the moon, but it does tell you a little bit about where the moon is in relation to astrology, also Mercury and the different planets, whereabouts they are at the time of the day, and if they will affect you as well. Sometimes if Venus is in your sign, it could mean a bit for you the coming week. And you know, everyone gets affected by Mercury retrograde, so that's in there as well. But I found that I didn't have a very good day, and I had a bit of a quarrel with everybody, and when I went back to it, it was because Mercury was in retrograde. How about that? So I'm not always up on these things, so it's handy to have a book like this that will tell you when anything's happening. And there's a lot of stuff happening. I mean, you can see how much is in this book. There's almost something every day in the astrology world. So definitely, if it's not a lot of money either, but it's got a little bit more than the Moon Diary. So if you want to be across all of this stuff, it's another good book to have. And we'll get back to you with the food. Now, we decided for an autumn meal, there's nothing that warms the belly more than mashed potato, and it's very Irish. So we decided to go with a Colcannon, which is an Irish mashed potato with cabbage. I enlisted the help of my daughter again, as most of the time I do. Where I can save on time and energy, I will. But I did get her to peel 4 large potatoes, and she chopped them then, or diced them for me, and we popped them aside into a pot. And we boiled those for about 30 minutes or so on high. Once that was completed, I had a chopping again with a quarter of a cabbage. They say either a Savoy or a quarter cabbage is good for this. It makes up quite a bit. You can also fry up some onion and bacon. They also say scallions or green onions are good for this recipe. And we actually had some chives from our garden, which we snipped a couple. We didn't have a lot, and I was trying to keep it mild for my daughter's liking. So we chopped up a little bit of the chive, mixed that in with the bacon and onion. And this is also where you'd mix in green onions instead of onion. Next, we add a bit of butter as well as a quarter of the cabbage mix. mix that around and heat it all up. And then gradually you'll add more and more cabbage to the pan. And then drain the potatoes once they're ready, adding about 150 ml of thickened cream to the soft potato. Once you've added the cream, we also add a tablespoon of butter or margarine. We also add a teaspoon of salt to the potato mix. It smelled really good while we were mashing it, as well as the bacon cooking in the pan. That always smells great. And proceed to mash away. And it also is helpful to enlist a strong male to do the mashing. I have a strong male here that I've enlisted to help. Save my arms. Once you've finished mashing away, add the cabbage, bacon, onion mix to the mashed potatoes. And don't forget to mix all of those together as well. And you can, of course, add any ingredients that you like. You can add chili or really any other spices that you'd like to taste. I've only kept it mild because I was in hope that my daughter would actually eat it. But no, because of the cabbage. Somebody didn't like cabbage. But there was plenty enough for me and my partner to eat, as well as some leftovers for the next couple of days. And traditionally that's what they would have done. They'd make up a big meal of something and have it for the next week in any way they could. Sometimes baking up mixtures into pies and things like that, or simply having it with different meals. Like we had ours with a crumbed chicken. You could also have traditionally with corned beef or a leg of ham, cooked ham. But you could mix it up and have it, it's like a mash anyway, have it with fish. You could have it with any meal that you would serve mashed potato with. But it tasted delicious, and even if my daughter didn't eat it, we certainly will polish it off as usual. I decided to end this video just so it doesn't end up being really long, but I also wanted to show you my Samhain altar. It's not as way out with the Halloween stuff as it was last year. I thought I'd keep it a bit more low-key, but still have its little skulls and black cats. But definitely don't forget to update your altar with the new Sabbath, as well as making sure that you're setting intentions for the new year. And I will get back to you very soon with our next video. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and hit that notification bell so you're aware when I'm putting up another video. Have a great day. Namaste.